How does this work? Mic check 1 2. Okay, I don't know if it's going to this account or that one. But I think we are live. I think. So, I suppose we should do the thing, hey? Let's do the gimmick. Hey, don't forget the commercial. We got to show the commercial. The Wavell Starr Show is proudly brought to you by the 306 shop located at 2322 9th Avenue North in Regina, Saskatchewan. As you can see, they have made the brand new Wavell 306 shirts. And if you want one, you can hit me up or you can head on down to 2322 9th Avenue North to the 306 shop. Hey, welcome to the Wavell Starr Show. I'm your host, First Nation sensation Wavell Starr, coming to you Facebook Live with the debut edition of Season 3 of the Wavell Starr Show. And with me on this very special occasion is the one, the only, Aaron Tatusis. How you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good, man.
Cool. Where are you this evening? Are you on the Buff or are you still touring?
I'm on Standing Buffalo, yeah.
Cool, man. So what do you have going for your September the 30th? That's the first question right off the bat. Let's hit it right off the bat.
I got gigs, man. I got gigs.
Cool, man.
We got a lunchtime gig. We're singing off the at the Regina Public Library. They're doing a Truth and Reconciliation Day celebration, and having Bev Ann Fox come and talk about her book and doing a launch there. We're doing an honor song, and then we're going to be doing a jingle dress dance performance as well with Connie Starblanket. She's going to be. I'll be on the mic there explaining what the jingle dress dance is all about. So that'll be that, and then I'll be presenting to Nokomis School after that via Zoom. So I'll be.
Oh, cool. So you don't actually have to drive over there. You're just going to jump on Zoom and do what sort? Is it Indigenous awareness, or is it more specifically about residential schools?
I think I'm going to be doing residential schools and a little bit more about our history here as Indians here in Canada and what we've gone through.
Right. Of course, a little bit more awareness has been raised over this past little while, ever since the discovery of the graves, the unmarked graves at the residential schools. So I think that this year it's a very, very special year for the September 30th event. Of course, in the past it was called Orange Shirt Day. I believe their name is now Truth and Reconciliation Day. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think the Prime Minister stole the thunder there from the Orange Shirt Day to call it Truth and Reconciliation Day. So there's a lot of mixed reaction to that, right? Because a lot of people, are kind of wondering and left confused and not really in support of Reconciliation Day out there.
Yeah, and I think another problem was that a lot of people saw, right, let's just address the elephant in the room. It was rushed out the door, right? It was rushed out the door, and we all know why. It's because there's chief and council elections. The big Canadian tournament. Okay, that moves us on. So that's good that we can transition to. Okay, so there's something going on. I'm hoping that I don't wreck things. So on my fan page, something must be buggered up because I haven't used it. This app. I'm gonna hit remove and hope we don't leave. Hold on here. Save changes. No. Let's close that. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm back. We're good to go. Okay, what was I just saying there? It was really important.
Truth and Reconciliation Day. You want it, and Chief and Council tournament.
Right. The big tournament. The big tournament. Okay, so let's talk about that. Who did you vote for? What team did you vote for?
I didn't. I vote for all the Cree Nation here.
Right.
I voted for main Cree and
Yeah.
Nihila. Yeah.
Right. Okay. You know, it would have been nice if we would have had somebody else on here that did vote, because I'm in the same boat as you. I did not participate in the election this year, and I haven't in years previous as well. And I have personal reasons for that, and I do feel that I have every right to complain, because that's the first thing that everyone says. Oh well, then you have no right to complain if you didn't go vote. You can't complain. Yeah, the Indian Act. I can complain like forever, dude, forever.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
the thing too, right? Like it's people say too, like, oh, I'm not going to get involved in a foreign election. Well, it's not really a foreign election. It's like an election that's happening with a government or a corporation that's on our land. It's no different than like if Sask Power had an election and then, like, I wanted to vote in it.
right. Like it's yeah, like you wouldn't expect a general citizen from Regina to show up at Poundmaker and be able to select who the chief is of the nation. Is kind of what you're getting at, correct?
Not really. That's different in itself too, hey, because a lot of people don't know the history of the Indian Act and how the chief and council system was imposed on our people. Like
Right.
here in Treaty 4 territory, right? Like when the treaty commissioner came here, he sent messengers. He said, bring your chiefs on September 15th and meet me here, right? Kind of thing. And then when the messengers showed up, people were like pretty much insulted because they weren't organized as chief and councils, right? They were more complex. There were societies and all
Right.
methods of governance through there. But
Yeah. And it was
the
foreign. It was foreign to them, and more importantly, from a historical perspective, it was inferior in
mhm.
their opinion, and they thought that they had to change it. Correct.
But over the years, like the Indian Act amendments, like if anybody ever paid attention to them, there was one point in the early 1900s where the Indian agents were given the right to vote in band elections in case there was a tie.
In case there's a tie, they get to
They
settle
would
it
give
like they're
a
the head
tie,
singing
yeah.
judge. Man, that's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally weird, because when they talk about it, the old systems, they used to talk that everything decisions used to be made by consensus, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to voting, because when you vote, you could still have a divided crowd. When your goal is consensus, then there's no time limit, right? You just keep
And
going until you can all come up with something together as a team, right?
yeah, and it was until, like, I think it was like 1961 where women were finally able to vote in band elections too. So
In band elections, they weren't allowed.
yeah,
Like I knew about the voting in the Canadian elections, because, like, status Indians, of course, couldn't vote until a certain year, and then women couldn't vote till even later. But I wasn't
yeah,
aware that they weren't allowed to vote in band elections. That's
yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
man.
So it's a
Shout out to
real
Tony.
paternalistic system.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, I just wanted to say hello to Gary Chopbresh. He is one of the good organizers from the Regina Rams, and he is also very, very good for asking questions. One of my good friends. We spent some time asking questions of each other and sharing information. And right now, it seems like you got a question. Go ahead and ask Chop in the chat, and we'll answer it to the best of our ability.
Who's got the biggest biceps? He said. Me or
Not
you?
me, not me. Hey, but hey, man, 48 years old tomorrow. 48 years old tomorrow, dude. And I'm telling people that I'm 50. I'm just gonna say 50, right? Because then when no, I'm actually not 50. I'm 48. Then it kind of peels it back a little bit, right?
We'll have like the what's his name there? What that actor there? That is it? Steve Martin, or what's his name? He had the white hair forever, like he was
The
like young.
white hair forever.
And then he had that effect that like he didn't even age. He's like in his like 80s or like 90s now, man.
Oh yeah, holy crap,
Yeah.
Hugh Hefner, too. No. I am definitely feeling like I'm getting a little older. Okay, Chop. Here's the question: is this new holiday being driven by the government, or is it being driven by First Nations people? I think it was initially driven by First Nations people somewhere around, I would say, around Truth and Reconciliation Commission time. And then I believe that this new holiday is being driven by the government because of the election. Whoa, was I supposed to say that out loud? See, if that's what you're getting at, I think that's what that's probably what it is. Chris, Tyrone, Ross, what do you got there? Choose or no chew? The people want to know. Okay, I chew. There, you got me. I do chew. I started chewing as a Regina Ram Chops. That's you and those guys. All the boys used to chew, so I thought you guys made me do it, man. Twisted my arm, I still chew, and it somehow it kind of stuck around the singing culture. Do you think, Aaron?
Oh yeah,
See,
definitely. And
yeah,
it's something that I've been quitting though, because I've been doing that ever since I was playing hockey too, and ever since I was 12, man, believe it or not. But I've been off the can for about almost 2 years coming up. Uh,
Seriously?
sticking to Nicorette. I tried all kinds of products. Like I tried the mints, I tried the
Yeah.
different things like that. But I'm just sticking with the gum. They have cinnamon Nicorette now, right? It's really good.
Oh yeah. So yeah, because I
Yeah,
guess there's two things, right? There would be the habit itself, because you're used to doing it whenever you do it, and then there would be the actual like addiction to the nicotine, right? So
yeah,
that's what the gum would do. It kind of transitions you away from it, right? Is the hope?
yeah. So with part of that craving with that powerful of an addiction with snuff, you really dig in the cupboards and you start looking around, like your appetite really goes up, and then you start gaining weight, right? So a lot of people don't know that Nicorette is covered for us too, and we just go to pharmacist and say, I need help quitting here, and
Right, right.
to help you out.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a good point, because with smoking, I think that there's a lot of people that really could probably wanted to try to quit, but just don't have the courage to go through because obviously there would be the beginning part with the withdrawals and all that kind of stuff. What was it
Mm.
like for Copenhagen, for the snuff or whatever? Because I assume it was Copenhagen, and when you chew for a long time, it's usually that, right?
Yeah, like the regular old Coke. Like I wasn't too fond of flavors of stuff, and that just gets to you, man. Like when you see that can too, but you know, you can have willpower all you want, but once that those cravings start kicking in, you start understanding how it works. Like, oh yeah, I'm looking in the cupboards. Like that means like I need nicotine fix here. So go get a gum, and it goes away.
Right, right.
But I'm not trying to develop another addiction to the gum though. So I've been really
Right,
some days I don't even have one gum, and I moved from 4 milligram gums to 2 milligrams. So
right. Well, that's good.
four
So you,
milligram 4 milligram is a pack a day smokers and more.
holy man. So that's giving you a big
Yeah,
shot of nicotine.
but it's nowhere even near the blast you get when you have a dip.
Really?
Yeah, that
Yeah. No,
it
I
really
never
puts
did
it
any
into
of this ones.
perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, there's a question there, Aaron. Let's read this out. Here's a question: with the new holiday, do you think Scott Moe was wrong not to recognize it as a holiday, but to let business pick to close or stay open? I think it was rushed. Well, I don't like to get involved in politics at all, but honestly, I think it's kind of rushed, right? so,
Like,
so
yeah,
things take time. Things take time, obviously, right? If you so for like there's a unionized and all these legislations and stuff. You can't just decide like willy nilly that you're going to do something and boom. Like, there's got to be some thought behind it, and I think it's really rushed on everybody. And like I said, I don't take sides because I don't play in that game. But I do. I can see it, and the same thing that everybody else saw. I assume you saw the same thing, right?
well, when you think of it from a business perspective, and like being in the planning and everything that I've been involved with in my job over the years, you got to really think about the salaries that it's going to cost on that day, right? I really get it though that it's nice to like just drop the ball and just recognize and give people the day off to observe the holiday, but really when you think of all the schools across Canada, I mean Saskatchewan only, that's a quite a bit of coin there to give people who are fixed to a 199-day work year, like at schools or educational institutions, where people are still going to get paid that day to stay home, and that's a big chunk of change that people are going to be, and really taxpayers are paying the bill for that. And being a government is kind of a responsible thing to do, but I'm not really one to take up for Mo on much stuff, but when you think of it from the dollars and cents, it kind of makes sense. That next year would be better, and it would fit into the plans, like and the calendars and academic calendars of all employees across Saskatchewan here.
Yeah, and to pull it out of the political realm and just to put it into an Indigenous lens. So, deceased elder Isidore Pelche, I always remember it. He always says, "Don't do anything Mama sees," and it felt like this was a little bit Mama sees.
Yeah,
Just slap it together and rush it out really fast, quick, as opposed to take your time and do it when it's ready.
there was definite pressure from the election though, and they really want the Indian vote, and and that was a part of it. There would have been no problem for him to say next year, right?
Well, I mean, I'm glad that it's happening, and I choose to take the day off. I'll take the day off and use my vacation entitlements for now. That's good enough for me. And there's lots going on, and I think that in general, people, like not the policies themselves, but the people. I think the people right now are very empathetic, sympathetic, and if ever their hearts were open and their ears were open, minds were open. Now is totally the time. I don't think anybody would have. I don't think any manager or supervisor would have problems if their employee said, I'd like to take the day off. I know it's short notice, but can I use my entitlements or whatever? Because I just don't want to be. I just choose to use the day to in honor of other people, right? It could be. Some could see it as selfish, or some could see it as grandstanding. But I guess everybody has their own reasons for it. But I choose to take the day off. Just simply in honor and recognition of both of my parents. Like my mom was a survivor and my dad was a survivor as well. So I think it's great that some people get the day off, and I'll take the day off as well. And I'll just use one of my vacation days. And next year, when things have time to be done properly and not Mama Cease, then I'm sure we'll all have it off.
Yeah.
Something like that. So we're doing. We did the virtual one. So I posted the event for the virtual event taking place. It's being posted tomorrow, and it was my good friend, practically my sister, Cherish Jean Baptiste, who is one of the main organizers. So I shared one of her posts on my Facebook page. And if you take a look at that link, you can register for the virtual event tomorrow, and you can see we also have Connie Star Blanket on our video. And we also have some Métis performances and some other pieces of information sharing throughout there. So I encourage anybody that if you have a chance to take a look at it. And also at this time, I wanted to kind of transition over towards some heavy complaining. So to transition over to the heavy complaining portion, what do they call it on AM radio? What do they call it? What it used to be called boots and salutes.
Yeah. I've got a few fucking boots and salutes I could start.
Yeah. I'd like to boot that guy that I saw walking down the sidewalk and he spit on the sidewalk and ruined my day. He gets a boot.
Well, the thing is, though, like traditionally we're taught to step on your spit because you never know who walks over it. It's just a lack of self-awareness. I think we need to start focusing on those teachings, man. we're either going to walk the walk or we won't.
Or we won't, and we'll just keep talking about it forever and
Just
ever
keep
and ever.
bullshitting about it. So sorry I'm late, gentlemen. I was getting my kids ready for bed and getting there, make sure they have their jammies and brushing their teeth, dad stuff.
Yeah, man, family first.
Yeah, it's been a long summer. I'm super excited to be back on the waves with you guys. I miss you guys a little bit. Not really. It was actually good without you guys,
So before we transition to plugging the season debut of the Wolves Den, we were just talking about the big national tournament that recently went on. Which team did you cheer for in the big tournament?
In the spirit of TRC, I went with Team Orange as usual. I did a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? I asked for my friends, and I asked their opinion on whether I should vote or not, and I got a lot of mixed reactions.
Surprise on that one.
Yeah. Well, one of the reactions was quite striking. They said, our ancestors never had the right to vote, so you should exercise your right to vote. And I always thought, that's a great opinion. And then I had people saying they just didn't want to participate in a system that was foreign to us, that didn't belong to us. And then there's too much thinking going on for something that doesn't deserve that much thinking, to be quite honest.
So you just took a knee chair? No, actually, you didn't.
It's a block and a half away. I thought, why not? I mean, it got me out of work for a little bit, so I thought I would follow my employers. That's the reason why I went. And I think voting has its benefits, but I didn't vote last term, and I still fucking complained, and it didn't really get me anywhere. It still is not going to get me anywhere now. The fact is that we live in a place where we're a majority non-Indigenous European people, and they've got the wave. They push that wave, and we could ask every Indigenous person to vote, and I don't know how much of a difference it'll ever make. To be honest, I think we're really outnumbered right now, and I think we need to really wait until the future, until our numbers rise, so that we do make a dent in that system that's foreign to us.
Well, here's the thing. That's the part right there. Is like I don't feel like I could ever be prime minister or anybody like me, because I don't speak French, and they all do, and you have to speak French to be the prime minister. So that means systemically, I'm almost excluded. Almost, no?
Isn't that a fucked up system? Like, where somebody can come to this part of the land, implement a system of governance that doesn't belong to us, and then expect us to follow, but then exclude us at every possible angle. Like, we'll never be the leader.
You can't be the leader. No, you're not good enough to be the leader, but you can have a vote. You can choose one of the people that are awesome. Those awesome, you can choose from the awesome ones who are nothing honestly, like you, but you get to choose. You just can't be them.
But why French? It's such a... Why that language? Like French, Quebec doesn't even want to be a part of Canada, but yet we go kissing their ass.
That's the thing. That makes the thing.
No sense.
Well, that's the thing. Like, why mandatory? Well, I guess they say it's not mandatory, but like, how are you gonna get your ass kicked in debates?
You'll never
if you can't speak French. Fuck.
I don't know. That'll be my answer for most of the.
So that's my biggest thing.
Aside from even on the election though, where our presence alone here in Saskatchewan, which is growing, we're always going to be the whole reason why this province is blue is because of us. Yeah. When you really get down to it, a majority of the people in this province are going to vote for that far right, just because they don't like us. And the bigger our presence is going to be, that vote for the blue and for the right is always going to be huge.
Oh, big time. I totally agree. Yeah.
Why do they need a cooler leader as an outside as an outside person that doesn't choose, Like you've got the leader of
They
the.
tried to make him cool though. They put little sneakers on him, and
That's what
beat
that's
out the
what I'm
team.
talking about. Those like skateboard sneakers, like those your kids' shoes, dude. Like they totally don't look like yours.
Skechers.
And then the Fort Capel guy, Andrew Shear, just so awkward. Like he doesn't look like he'd be comfortable talking to anybody outside of Fort Capel. It's just like, isn't there anybody cooler?
He'd
like
be that bro that you didn't want to take anywhere because he'd like want to kill it with the ladies. He'd be like, "Fuck, he's here again." Oh, can't you just ask him to go home early?
Smells like ass.
Yeah, smells like piss and fart, and it's like, and you have one of those bros. I hope I'm not the bro in the group that.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay, kind of good, because I do wear that Sauvage that everybody hates. So I think
Sauvage.
I'm dumping that cologne. I'm getting some old school stuff. It's not getting a good rap on Facebook. I mean,
so is it okay to talk about those guys because they're politicians? I assume that they're like athletes. The same thing. If you like, it's okay to talk about you. That's what people are going to talk about, your ugly ass shoes. Because that's what you signed up for. Because that's what you signed up for. Now what about the three of us? What are the three of us for talking about it? Like, shh, you can't talk about that stuff.
oh,
Or what? I don't get it. I don't get it.
I feel safer about talking about that political side of the world than
ours. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't even joke about it.
I have like I don't really have limits about what I talk about, right? Like some of the stuff that I left public like got me into trouble at work too, right? Like and a lot of people are scared of that. They're scared to death.
Yeah, sycophant.
Work,
right?
That work gets to it and stuff, and they're just no fun.
Yeah, well, it's that whole bullshit line of like, oh, I'm gonna fix the system from the inside. I'm gonna fix the system from the inside. Like, no, you can't fix it because the system was meant to terminate, and if you fix it, it's just gonna terminate better. But it has to be managed. It has to be managed because it was designed to terminate. And if you don't manage it and navigate, then it will terminate. No?
The only thing that's going to save us in this province is education. There's a big turnaround when people actually, start to get it. Like they might be so hard up like the ass with like, and the blue side, but once they get their senses straightened out by somebody that can get to them, you see that turnaround. And doing the stuff that I do, with all these, presenting to all of these policing and corrections, like doing the whole province-wide work with the presenting stuff to all that group and everywhere else in the province, like the corporations and stuff, they start to get it, and it starts to grow inside them and change the whole way that they do things.
Right.
They start that in itself is something that can't be done even by chiefs and councils.
No, that's reconciliation in action, like at the grassroots level. And I'm not trying to bullshit or politic. That's really what it is. And you see the same thing if you ever attend an Indigenous awareness session with folks that are like regular citizens that never took anything about it in school, that were completely oblivious to it till recently, right? And they become aware of some of this stuff, and they see that the goal for termination. And you can see the light turn on, right? And then all of a sudden you see some people that didn't have a sympathetic ear before at all, always worrying about how come the Indians get the jobs, how come you guys got quotas and all that kind of stuff. Now that now starting to open up, it's like, oh man, that's messed up, and it starts to explain how some of the things came to be, right?
Yeah.
The Truth and Reconciliation, a friend of mine really pointed out breaking down the word, and he said he had worked with some elders from his community, and at first they gathered in Edmonton, and when they gathered, a big group of people, and it was too much to try to speak. It was too overwhelming amongst everybody to share their stories. So they started bringing it back to their communities, and then they started to open up. And he said, truth and reconciliation. He said, we're barely starting truth. We're barely at truth. And we're trying to just steamroll through and reconciliation and band-aid and money and let's get this over with and then move on.
Yeah,
like,
can't, Russ.
But it goes for both people. It goes for the indigenous side and the European side, because I have some friends that are like, what the fuck? They tried doing that? They tried killing your people? Like, they're in shock too, because their country lied to them, their leaders lied to them, and they just realized that the place they live in is a kind of is like a fraud.
Right,
so they're kind of freaked out too, as well as where all these old school people that knew about it, they're just like, oh shit, now what do we do? Let's just get this truth and reconciliation over so we can sign some pipeline deals and then get whatever. You know what I mean?
That's been my perspective on things too, is that, you know, even our leaders, right? They, rather than them too aren't educated, like, and we're not talking about, you know, 25 times 25 educated, right? Like we're, like our leaders have no clue in our own history a lot of times, and they have no point of fight, and you know, it doesn't take long to get caught up on a lot of issues and stuff like that. But the thing is that, you know, our driven people that are leaders today are always wanting the solution now, right? Like, okay, well, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Right? And it's to me, it's kind of like they're wanting to know how the book ends before they read the meat of the book, right? And try to understand for themselves, rather than just asking somebody that actually read it, hey, how did it go, right? Like,
I'm
not going to give you notes, bro.
Yeah, some of it could be personal defense mechanism. Do you think? So here's this is a comparison that I'll draw. The 9/11. So I finally watched documentaries on that thing, and I realized that I buried a lot of that crap. Like there was so much that I did not pay attention to, and that I totally put my head in the sand. And it was because it was really, really traumatizing. And when I was watching that, I'm thinking about it right now, like when the bodies were landing on the top of the thing and everyone was like it was crazy. And just thinking about that, you know, like, and imagine too, back then we didn't know anything about mental health and PTSD and all that stuff. Imagine the damage that did, right? So anyways, back to my point, it's just that I chose to put my head in the sand partially, and then also maybe subconsciously chose to put my head in the sand, because there was so much about 9/11 that I found out about that I didn't even know when it first happened, because like I said, I wasn't paying attention. It's kind of traumatizing. So maybe to some people, when they start hearing about it, like, it's really uncomfortable, right? So I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody, but I do know that anytime you talk about it, there's an energy to it, right? And it's kind of unpredictable. So sometimes conversations will go really smooth, and then, you know, then sometimes you'll see people that you'd never ever would see break down, you know, and it's just it's got an energy of its own. So honestly, to be totally truthful, I can't wait till the week's over.
Yeah,
you know,
right. If I can quickly chime in, Aaron, we had a conversation with the boys last week, because, you know, there's a lot of singers that are being asked to go and do the Call of Duty by singing for certain organizations, and it had me thinking. Last Friday we had to do a song for our university, the Huskies here. They've been really putting a solid effort into learning. Okay, so I need to say that they've been really putting a solid effort into learning, and it's just the first step, and they're willing to take a whole journey. Anyways, so they asked us to sing, and I spoke with some of the guys, and I said, what is it that we're doing here? Are we just going to fulfill a need? Are we just going to go sing, get a little check, go spend it, and then wait till the next one? Because that's not why I was given the drum. That's not why we're giving. But we get caught up in these fucking patterns, right? Where we just go, we forget what we're doing. And
because we call them gigs even.
Yeah.
We even call them gigs. We shouldn't call them gigs. But the slang wise, it makes sense, right? Like, I got a gig. We kind of know what it means, right? But really, it's we shouldn't call it a gig. Like, you were asked to render an honor song, or you were asked to acknowledge graduates, or whatever. It was we got a gig.
Well, do you guys remember when you were young, looking at singers and just holding them like in high reverence? Like, man, these guys are given a gift, and then here's us. Oh, hey, we got a gift. Like, where did the train go off the rails here?
Yeah.
I mean, we're at that time in our life where we got to take some shit a little bit more seriously than we have before. And I'm just
Yeah. For
as just
sure.
as a guy wanting to relearn and get myself back in between the lanes, that's one of the challenges I'm giving to myself, is to really look forward and put some effort into what I'm doing, especially this week, because it's more than just me. It's more than just my wallet. It's more than just trying to make a name for myself and who's going to see me. It's not even about me this time. And I think moving forward, I think that's something I want to continue doing, because if I don't respect what I have, then I might lose it. So
Yeah.
that's my serious side.
Yeah,
well, we all got to get serious sometimes. Aaron, final
No,
comments. We're going to wrap up pretty soon, so we go again.
It's just like like the gig that we did there recently there, Wavell. Remember when we're all like kind of pissing around right before we sang, but then once we sang and then the drum took off and everything, like one of the comments after, I think that was you, that said, "Holy shit, that's powerful." Like,
Yeah, it is, man. It's real. Sometimes we forget about that stuff, right? And we downplay it. So we need to stop minimizing that kind of stuff, I guess. Mark, final comments.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks, Wavell. And if I can make a plug for the Wolves Den, we will be chilling with some more guests. I want to invite a lot more people to join the show. We're looking at a different date. We're waiting for powwow season to wind down. However, we're not going to be talking exclusively about powwows. We're going to be talking about current events, especially that face First Nations people. I'm hoping to see if we can get some candidates to join us for the election. Either on your show or our show. Hopefully we can
on yours.
Yeah, if we can do some explanation to our viewers on why the voting happens the way it happens, and just to get to know these guys, what makes them tick. What's your favorite ice cream? What's your favorite song? Leadership is a pretty tough gig, pretty tough role.
Yeah, sure.
So letting our friends and family know who these people are, what they stand for. That'll be coming up hopefully soon. If these guys are allowed to participate in that, I think that'd be a real treat. Anyways, peace out, everybody.
Right, Aaron, one last time. Come on, I know that you got one last thing to say.
Exeo mania.
All right, thanks, guys. Like I said, this was the first episode back after a long summer break. Definitely looking forward to getting back together with the Wolves Den on Sundays. We'll be moving forward with more episodes of the Wavell Starr Show as well. Thanks to everybody that was here this time. We'll see you the next time. However, in the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another edition of the Wavell Starr Show. Bye-bye now.